All guests on ZASLOW Show 2.0 brought to us by the official beer of the program. You know, we're talking about Johnny Cuba, European roots with that Caribbean soul. Pick up a refreshing German lager in a can. Go to johnnycuba.us. Use the Johnny locator. Find the nearest location to you. Make sure you always drink responsibly. And don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. We love being joined by our pal, Nick Kostos. Oh, you got You Better You Bet, the premier sports betting show out there in the sports betting landscape, the founder of Wagertainment. Nick, love having you on. It's been a little bit. How you doing? Are you fully immersed in football?
First off, great to be on with you, my friends. I love coming on the show. Yeah, I call it, like on NFL Sundays when the games start, not only am I immersed, I'm in the Matrix, like in that scene in the Matrix where they plug Neo in, they put like the cable in the back of his head and Keanu Reeves says, I know Kung Fu. That's me watching every NFL game with Stat Tracker up. Every play of every game matters. If you bet, you play fantasy, you bet props, whatever. Every single play of every single game impacts me in some way, shape, or form. There's absolutely nothing better.
Now, you have a very young child, so this is the first go-round football season with a young child. So have you mastered the skill of telling your wife, I'm working, I can't do this?
Well, I think, my wife and I have worked this out now over the past, even when we were just dating before we were engaged or married, where kind of the compromise that's made, and I say this on my show also now, like I love college football, like I handicap college football, I bet college football, but kind of the compromise is that on Saturdays, which is my one day off during football season, I work Monday through Friday and Sunday, all day Sunday, is I'm not going to sit around to watch college football, kind of like that's our day. So I feel like if I give that, like Saturday is our day together, then Sunday, I absolutely have to be left alone to do my thing. So I think that has worked out very well for us over the years. And yeah, I expect it to work well moving forward here because that's my money-making day. I have to be able to work.
Now, everyone knows that Nick Kostos is a huge pro wrestling fan, just like myself. Now, I know during football season, you can't be as involved in pro wrestling as you would like to be. But did you happen to catch Raw this past week? Bret the Hitman Hart was on Raw. Did you happen to catch any of that?
So even if if I'm not able to watch, I will watch clips and read. I know everything that's happening in AEW and WWE. And I saw the Bret segment, and I have to tell you, man, the Gunther line about his favorite wrestler ever being Bill Goldberg. Good. I mean, is ridiculously funny. And just something that I find so funny about that is the assumption that everyone in the crowd knows that Bill Goldberg is the one that ended Bret Hart's career, and that Bret hates Bill Goldberg. Just such a dramatic turnaround from when we were younger, even 10 years ago, when the internet wrestling community was not as big as it is now. Now everyone knows everything. The fourth wall has been shattered, which is funny. But I laughed very, very, very hard at that because you're my second favorite wrestler, and then you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Where's he going with this? The crowd starts booing immediately because they know it's a setup for something. And he goes, my all-time favorite's Bill Goldberg, which is great for so many reasons because Gunther is actually a great wrestler. Goldberg obviously wasn't. So just for many different levels, a hysterically funny line.
It's so good because it's like when I make a joke on ESPN radio that I know only 6 people understand, but those 6 people think that shit was funny as hell. No and doubt. that's what that was with Gunther the other day. Yeah. I don't know how many people understood it, but those people thought that shit was funny.
All did. I think everybody did. You heard the way the crowd reacted, and everyone went nuts on social. I think everybody got it.
Oh, it's such good stuff. All right, let's get to the main stuff. Tonight, we got the Dolphins. All right, Dolphins and Bills. I'm very nervous here, Nick. The Bills have been our daddies for a long time now. I think it's 11 of 12 that Buffalo has won against us, something like that. Very nervous. It feels like an early season statement kind of game. Give me some thoughts.
Oh, I'll say that, I think Miami was, I don't want to say lucky to beat Jacksonville, but I mean, if Travis Etienne doesn't find, it's a great play by Holland. Etienne goes into the end zone there, Jacksonville definitely wins the game. So I think Miami has a little bit of cushion here where, 0-2 is a lot different from 1-1, obviously, if the Dolphins end up losing tonight to the Buffalo Bills. But you're right, Buffalo has owned Miami, and I do have a bet on this game. I have other bets that I'm more confident in, but this kind of strikes me as what I call a WTF game. Get mine's out of the gutter, everybody. Just wrong team favored, where I think the Bills should be a 1-point favorite. Now, we're not talking like a huge swing in point spread, right? Because we're below 3 on either side. It's still like essentially in a high totaled game, pick the winner. The game could land 1 or 2. The total's 49. It feels like it's pretty unlikely. So basically, just like pick the winner of the game. And the one advantage that I think Buffalo has over Miami in this game, with new offensive coordinator Joe Brady, Buffalo has a new renewed commitment. And we saw this last year when Ken Dorsey was dismissed and Brady took over, like a commitment to running the football. And it manifested itself this past weekend for Buffalo in the win against Arizona, where they call 33 run plays, 23 pass plays. And obviously Josh Allen has a ton of rushing yards also. And we did see Miami get creamed by the Jaguars on the ground, whether it's ETN or Tank Bigsby, Jacksonville averaging almost 5 yards per carry. So I don't think this is going to be Buffalo coming out and winging it 50 times in this game, throwing it with Josh Allen. I think it's going to be a ton of James Cook in this game, maybe a little Ty Johnson, Ray Davis, Josh Allen running the ball, obviously. So I like the Bills in this game. I think the Bills will win the game. So I have a bet on Buffalo, plus the points, Buffalo on the money line. I like the under in the game. Sitting at 49 right now, where again, I think Buffalo is going to try to take the air out of the football. Tua Tagovailoa, not a ton of historical success against the Sean McDermott defense. And ZASLOW, my one prop play for tonight, and I actually have BetMGM open here, so I just want to get the exact number where we're sitting right now for James Cook. James Cook's rushing yards prop tonight is 60.5. Love the over on that for Buffalo's running back one. And if I could just give out an anytime touchdown for your audience here. So I'll be really quick here. This market has been completely nerfed. For people that know what that term nerfed means, like it's like a kind of like a video game term when like it's like a character in like a video game is overpowered, like in a fighting game, let's say, and the developers will release a patch where like the stats are brought down, like the character is nerfed, like makes it more difficult to play that person. So the anytime touchdown market used to be, like a couple of years ago, a really profitable one, right? Where you could get like the third wide receiver for a team at a really big price to score a touchdown. And I think sportsbooks kind of realized we're kind of getting ransacked on these. So now if you look at the anytime touchdown market, like any principal player in the game is at a low price to score a touchdown. So the way I'm looking to play it this year, like Josh Allen could obviously score. He could score multiple times. He's minus 120 to score. He's favored to score a touchdown. So I'm looking for like go a little bit down the board to try and strike gold. We did on Monday night with Alan Lazard, for instance, for the Jets at plus 700. So two guys for tonight. One would be Ty Johnson for Buffalo. Is he extremely likely to score? No, he's 11-1. So Ty Johnson is Buffalo's second running back right now behind James Cook. Ray Davis, Buffalo's rookie, is eventually going to be the number 2 behind James Cook. Ray Davis is being priced ZASLOW like he's the number 2 behind James Cook. He's not. Ty Johnson ran ahead of Ray Davis this past weekend in Buffalo's win against Arizona. So Ty Johnson at 11-1, he's mispriced. Johnson is 11. Davis is 8. There's no way that's right. And the other would be Miami's tight end grouping. So Jonnu Smith is plus 400. Like, does anyone think that's right, Dolphins fans who watched the game this past Sunday, where Miami is a 3-man tight end rotation of Jonnu Smith, Durham Smythe, and Julian Hill? Julian Hill actually ran the most snaps out of Dolphins tight ends last week. He played the most. Julian Hill is 8-1 anytime touchdown. Jonnu Smith is 4-1. Like, does anyone think that's right? So look, Jonnu Smith could score. Ty Johnson doesn't have to score. Just that I think these are decent prices, beer or pizza money on an 8-1 and an 11-1 to score a touchdown tonight.
From a general, sports fan perspective, what do you make of the discourse around Tua? Like, if I ask you if Tua is treated differently by the media, by fans, your response to that is what?
I don't think I agree with that. Is it just because, like, is the thought that Tua doesn't get, like, respected the way that top quarterbacks do, is my guess?
I'll give you an example. Last week against Jacksonville, and this offseason, Trevor Lawrence signed the same kind of deal Tua did. All right, very similar money. Trevor Lawrence was a number 1 overall pick. Tua was number 5 overall. Trevor Lawrence was terrible in the second half. They had a 10-point lead.
Good. Yeah.
They had a 10-point lead that they blew. They scored 0 points in the second half of that game that the Dolphins won. If Tua had that game, we'd be killing Tua. And I don't hear anything about Trevor Lawrence.
Well, because Trevor Lawrence plays for Jacksonville and the Jaguars have no fans and the Dolphins are like a historic NFL franchise. I think like that's, if Tua played in Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence played in Miami, I think you would get the inverse there. Like, I think that's what it is in this particular instance. Look, I think that smart football fans know Tua is like a very good quarterback. this is the price of doing business in the NFL is you pay the most important position. I think he's worth every penny. Do I think and I think Dolphins fans like let's be realistic about this. Like, is Tua as good as Josh Allen?
No.
Like, is he as good as Lamar Jackson? Is he as good as Patrick Mahomes? Like, obviously not. Is he as good as the top options in the NFL? Like, he's not. It doesn't mean you can't win with Tua. For me, like, if I'm a Dolphins fan and I'm being honest and objective here, like, Tua he's not the least of the concerns when it comes to winning a Super Bowl, but I think the offensive line is a total train wreck. I don't know if it's going to get better. Now, Mike McDaniel can mitigate that a little bit with the way he calls the offense, get the ball out quickly with the fast players, obviously. And I have concerns about this pass rush until it gets to full strength. So, like I don't think Tua is as good as Mahomes, but Tua is still really good. So I think, like, the criticism of Tua, I guess, is a little unfounded. I'd love for him to be the quarterback of my favorite team, the New York Football Giants. Oh,
my God. Do you feel like your season's over?
Yeah.
Sucks.
Of course.
Sucks.
Yeah, it does. I just tell myself, like, hey, like, we beat the undefeated Patriots in Super Bowl 42, and that was really great. And then we beat them again 4 years later.
No one can ever take that from us.
Yeah,
that's
like,
forever.
listen, like, I feel like as a sports fan, I broke out of Shawshank when the Giants won that game. I think I'm good for the rest of my life, no matter what happens. But yeah, like my season's
do you feel bad
over.
when you see the Daniel Jones video and the fans yelling at him? Do you feel bad, or is it just, hey, that's what the money's for?
Well, I would say, let's say that Daniel Jones were really upset by this, which is a human being, like he probably is, right? So let's say he's really sad. He hates playing poorly. He hates getting booed by the fans. And let's say, like, he's moved emotionally, right, by this, and he thinks about it and he gets really upset and he starts to cry. He can wipe those tears with $100 bills. He's good.
What else do you like this weekend in the NFL, Nick?
Oh, I like a lot this weekend. So let me, I just want to bring the MGM odds board up here so I can give you the up-to-date numbers here. I'll roll through a couple that I like.
Yeah.
I'll start with the Giants. The Giants are really bad. Daniel Jones is really bad. They're definitely better than the Commanders. The Commanders are brutal. Now look, like, Jaden Daniels is awesome. Jaden Daniels is 50 times better than Daniel Jones. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a star. So let's say, like, roster construction 1 through 53. Number 1, Commanders have the edge. Daniels over Jones. 2 through 53, the Giants are a significantly better team than Washington. Like, they're just better. Washington's offensive line is brutal. Washington's secondary is brutal. Like, this actually sets up in a game where, like, Daniel Jones should kind of go nuts and have, like, a really good
historically
game.
He actually plays well against Washington.
I think this is a Malik Neighbors eruption game. I like his receiving overs on Sunday against, again, the Washington secondary, and I like Baker Mayfield. Made Baker Mayfield look like prime Joe Montana last week. 4 touchdown passes, 26 of 30 completions. So I think Neighbors has a big game. I think Jones has a big game, and there's no way that the Washington offensive line can protect against Burns and Thibodeau and Sexy Dexy. It's not possible. And my concern for Jaden Daniels in this game and all season, he's not a big guy like Josh Allen is. He's a little slight of frame. He ran the ball 16 times last week and got sacked a number of times. He's not going to make it through the season if this is what's going to happen. Now, I'm not trying to jinx it. I hope he stays healthy. He's awesome. I love watching him play. Just hard to imagine that being the case. So give me the Giants. This one will make you sick.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Raiders to cover on Sunday on the road in Baltimore against the Ravens. Now, this was 10 earlier in the week. We're now sitting 8.5 for Baltimore and Vegas. And the handicap of this game is really simple. Well, I guess there's 2 things. The main one is we all watched Baltimore in the season opener. Was anyone impressed with this offensive line, which lost 3 starters from last year, Lamar's MVP year? Like, they basically had to turn the offense into a horizontal passing offense because they can't protect Lamar, who also took about 900 hits in that game. So now here's the Raiders defensive front with Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins. Obviously, your audience knows about him, right? Like, how are they going to block these guys? Answer, like, they're not. They're going to wreck this offense for Baltimore. And Antonio Pierce is kind of a clown with his in-game decision-making, super conservative. But I think you like those coaches when you're getting a ton of points. Like, he's going to kick field goals. He's never going to go for it on 4th down in his own territory. He's going to punt. So if you don't get it, it's not like an automatic 7 or 3 for Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Like, Antonio Pierce is the kind of coach you never want to lay points with, but you'll take the points with a coach like Antonio Pierce. So we could talk about more games if you want, ZASLOW, but those would be 2 of my favorites, the Raiders and the Giants.
You know what? Let me get some thoughts on a high profile game. All right. So the later slate on Sunday, Bengals and Chiefs. You like anything there?
Yeah, so I was waiting to see, and we're doing this Thursday morning, right? I
Yeah.
was waiting to see Joe Burrow and his practice status. Throughout obviously, I want to see it the whole week.
Right.
Burrow practiced in full, was on the injury report with his wrist injury on Wednesday, but practiced in full, which indicates that he's going to be good to go for this game on Sunday. Now, things can change. He could like not practice on Thursday or Friday, whatever, practice in a limited fashion. But good, generally, like you practice in full on Wednesday, like you're going to keep practicing in full the rest of the week. And he's obviously the most important player on the team. Now, T. Higgins didn't practice yesterday on Wednesday with his hamstring injury. He missed week 1, something to monitor. We also should kind of find out, like, hey, is Jamar Chase going to play 100% of snaps in this game? He didn't on Sunday against the New England Patriots. The number was 6, ZASLOW, prior to the Burrow injury news. Now we've come off 6 and we're sitting at 5.5. Why is that important? 5 is a dead number in the NFL. Like games can land 5 mathematically, but it's not often that happens. Think about, again, you don't have to be a math major. Think about how scoring in the NFL works. 5 is not a number that lands often. 6 is a number that does land pretty often. So 6 was a pretty valuable bet with Cincinnati. I don't know if I can say like 5.5 is a great bet with the Bengals now. But I guess if you maybe take the game, just given Burrow's past success against Kansas City, I probably would still take the points with Cincinnati here. But we still need more information before we can confidently place that bet. What's Burrow's status going to be? Is T. Higgins going to play in this game? And we won't have those answers probably until Friday afternoon, maybe even Sunday morning.
Finally, Nick, real quick here. Who was your future Super Bowl winner bet that you placed?
Yeah, it's boring. Kansas City. I think they're going to three-peat. I think they're in line for historic regular season. I think they're going to go at worst 14-3. I don't know if that gets Andy Reid Coach of the Year. They might have to go like 16-1 for that. But, you know, like if they go 15-2 or 14-3, Patrick Mahomes is winning MVP. It's just going to happen.
What was the price on them winning the Super Bowl?
Plus 550.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like not, but like, look, like it's not like a sexy price. Like you'd rather bet like a 20, like the Jets were 20-1, even though they lost on Monday. Like I still think they could have a super season this year. But yeah, it's like at the end of the season, you want to win money. And I feel like collectively, ZASLOW, and I think your audience will appreciate this, given like the Dolphins play in the same division as the Patriots. I think we collectively, whether you bet or whether you're a sports fan, in the media, whatever, we spent 2 decades trying to come up with reasons like why the Patriots with Brady and Belichick were not going to win a million games or win the division or win the Super Bowl. And they just shoved it up our derrieres every year. And I don't think I want to do this with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Not that they're definitely going to win. Like they could obviously lose. Mahomes could get hurt. They could lose in the playoffs. They could lose in the Super Bowl. They've lost in one already. Would you bet on that happening though? Like I would. So give me the Kansas City Chiefs, as boring as that is.
The godfather of wagertainment, Nick Kostos. Tell everybody else how they can hear you, how they can watch you, all that good stuff.
Yes, we got a lot going on this year. You can hear me giving betting updates on Westwood One's coverage of the National Football League on Sunday night and Monday Night Football. We love that. I've got a ton of content with BetMGM, including their flagship NFL content, the Board of Spreads, which is me rolling through every single game. That's on the BetMGM X account, game days. So Thursday for Thursday Night Football, Friday for NFL Sunday, and then Monday for Monday Night Football every single week. So check that out at BetMGM on X. And then You Bet. I am now on weekdays 4 to 7, Monday through Friday. That is on the Odyssey app. That is on radio stations nationwide. It is on YouTube. It is on Twitch. It is on Stadium. So lots of places to find the show. And then Sunday mornings, 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern on WFAN in New York for people interested in that. I hit every game, but more of a New York focused for people that like that. A lot of New Yorkers in South Florida. And then 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Sundays. You Bet National countdown to kickoff, literally leading you up to kickoff in every game. The NFL betting pregame show.
Killing it, Nick. Excellent job, man. The show is it's grown a ton and it's continuing. I appreciate you, man. I'm happy for you. We'll talk again soon, all right?
Appreciate it, my brother. Wishing you and all your great listeners minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck.